defense.
Welcome in. Thanks for joining us for Split the Defense Leafs post game, presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving Kingston and the surrounding area since 2004. I'm Webby with CP and producer Ted in the booth as usual. Thumbs up this episode, subscribe to our YouTube, leave us a comment while you're here. We'd love to chat with you. Leafs lose on the second of a back-to-back after a big win last night. They lose tonight to the Capitals 5-2. They outshot the Capitals, but that's a bit of score effects. Logan Thompson is definitely a big factor in this game. But what's your overall takeaway of this one, CP?
Overall takeaway is probably that Matt Murray kind of sucks. I guess second overall takeaway is this team really needs Matthews back, and potentially just like a trade to get some sort of center depth within this organization. But yeah, kind of a tough one. Goalie lost the goalie battle, no question. And I thought the team played okay. I saw a lot of stuff from OEL that I didn't necessarily like. I don't know, the Roberts
opener tonight hard. Castrated by protest.
Is that called a can opener? That's castration more like it. But yeah, tough game for him. I like the third line kind of had a tough night, but everyone just kind of played okay. Just Willie, I thought needed to get a couple, and he got robbed twice. Yeah,
the line's just terrible. I do not like Willie, Nyes, and Holmberg together. I do not like them at all. It's just not enough for me. Holmberg seems like he's a fish out of water. Like he's out of his element. He's way too far up in the lineup. They're asking way too much of that guy. He's a decent player. Like he could probably be bumped up to the third line in situations, but he's a fourth line player. Like he in no world should be playing in your top six. Like they're just lucky, it's the middle of the season. It's a long season, but they clearly missed Austin Matthews next to William Nylander and Matthew Nyes, because I know Willie and Nyes can play together, but they do not look good with Pontus in the center.
No, yeah, that's just it. Like that's a line that that's a third line at best, and that's where the center depth is an issue. When you're asking Pontus Holmberg to be your second line center, that's just never going to be a recipe for success. Like he's a guy especially he gets the breakaway chance. I had 0% confidence of that puck going in. Like I would almost rather Benoit get the breakaway than Pontus Holmberg, and it's sad to say, but he does not bring that to a game. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough look, and that's part, I think, of why Willie's not on the board, is because even in a game where he's kind of feeling it a bit, everything he did was on his own. So yeah, tough line, definitely.
And what about Matthew Nyes? Matthew Nyes heading into, since the last time they played Washington. Thank you, our boy Steve Dangle, friend of the show Steve Dangle, for this tweet. Heading into the Leafs December 6th game against Washington, Matthew Nyes had 6 points in 6 games. He was on a hot streak. Starting with December 6th to now, Nyes has been on a slump with just 3 points and just 1 goal in 11 games. Tonight, he has 1 shot on goal.
No.
Not enough from Nyes either.
Yeah, Nyes is, I think we're seeing he's more of a passenger player. And when he's on a line with Matthews and Marner, and that line's just going really well, then he benefits from that. But on a second line, he's just not the guy that's going to step in when you're missing a scorer on that line to really jump up and do things. I don't know. And definitely a slump in general is just part of it as well. I'm sure he would like to have one within this slump. But yeah, I also think that I've seen a step back from him. Just not quite as explosive, not doing as a lot on his own. I think when he was on that point streak, you saw him do a lot of the work himself, carrying the puck up the middle, winning board battles, and then kind of, taking advantage when he gets to in front of the net. So yeah, you want to see more. You just not just Nyes, but Pacioretty is just a guy that I swear he's a different player now. Like he's not even the same guy that got us all excited about him being on there. Not only are we not getting points and goal scoring, but I feel like the physicality has also gone away as well. So it is the holidays. Like, I'm a little less into sports during the holidays. I'm sure the players are feeling a little bit less a bit excited to be there. Like you always like
Yeah,
to say, is like they're human just like we are. So, I mean, you like to say it a different way, but I think that Pacioretty though, I just wanted when he was throwing like 5, 6 hits a night. That's when he's at his best, and I think you're not seeing that as well.
yeah, and I mean a guy like Pacioretty, it's a long season. I think he just wants to be able to make it through. I think he's proven to the
Fair.
coach what he can do when it comes time. And maybe he doesn't have to play all 82 games like that. And he wants to hit that 39 game mark. Remember that. He's got a
Sure
big bonus
does. Yeah.
coming in at 39 games. So he's probably playing to stay healthy at this point, trying to contribute and not lose a spot in the lineup. But also, he's not going to be the same guy we saw that he can be. But no, just know that that is in there and that he can bring it back when it comes April, May, hopefully. Hopefully they're playing in the second, third round because of a guy like Pacioretty. What about a guy like Bobby McMahon though?
Yeah, I also on Pacioretty too. Like I feel also because he's been bumped up the lineup, he has changed his role a little bit. Like you said, going to the playoffs, I'd like to see him in a lower role, on the third or fourth line, and then
Yeah,
you probably takes that like role player mindset like back a little bit.
and I think that's probably it. And you see this Bobby McMahon guy, he's just, fuck, what has he got? I think I got stats here. He's got like 4 in his last 7 or something like that. 4 goals in his last 7 games for Bobby McMahon. That guy could play in the top 6. I'd be all right with that. Absolutely no problems with that. And, like that's the guy I think you put in there for Pacioretty. Maybe put Patches back on the third line because right now that third line is a total liability.
Yeah, yeah. I think like Bobby and Nyes are very similar to me, where they're really great passenger players and are able to, when their line is doing really well, then they can capitalize. And so I think that Bobby can work on any of the lines. It's just how is he going to blend in with the players he's playing with? Like we've seen him be really successful with Tavares on the second line. So I think like
So let's
I
do
would
it.
be comfortable with him anywhere. Yeah, I would definitely the switch with Patches. I would welcome for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most plausible option there. And like, where's Austin Matthews? When's he coming back? Like, what's happening with Austin Matthews? Like, are we paying him? We is the team that I cheer for paying a player 15% of their cap to do a rehab assignment through the season here? Are they at least going to do the Kucherov where they use all his money to sign some big massive player they shouldn't, make a trade for something they shouldn't, and then bring him back in the playoffs? Like, what is happening here? He's been gone so much, and he just feels like we've been really missing the dominant Austin Matthews force that makes up the character of this Toronto Maple Leafs team.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like Berube was pretty confident he was going to be back in either the next game or the game after. I mean, like that doesn't really change anything to me though. Like, I think it still means that he's coming back semi-injured. We're dealing with something they're not expecting to totally go away. So like, I don't know. I'm still really concerned about the injury regardless, even though they kind of seem like we're gonna see him in the lineup. But like, what type of Austin Matthews are we even gonna get? And especially like you said, the whole Kucherov like opportunities on the table, and I hope they really consider that coming down to the trade deadline, because what's the point of him playing 10 games here and then he's off for like 5 or 6, and then by the end of the season you're coming down to it and he's only working at like 60% because back injuries we know because of Foligno. That guy went from being a first line centerman to being unplayable like just in one play. So I just think that like the back in particular is like one where I think it affects your game more than just like say a wrist or something else. That I'm really uncomfortable with the situation with Matthews and what type of player as a captain too in his first captain year. I don't know. Without him, this team doesn't have a chance. So we need him.
Yeah, I mean, we do need him. But it just really sucks because that money could be allocated to other areas that could help the team where you wouldn't maybe need him so much. You know, if you could get another couple of centers for that money or something and start to spread out some wealth. Like, I don't know, like you got $13 million to work with here. Like, that's a big amount of money. You can grab a couple of decent guys, right? I don't know what you got to pay to get them, but I'm just saying it's a lot of money to work with, and it sucks that you have a guy taking up that much cap sitting on the bench for so much of the season, and not really being able to do anything with the LTIR money.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the season, I feel pretty confident the team's going to be able to like make the playoffs. But like, it's just a totally different animal when you're trying to build like a bit of a powerhouse to go deep into the playoffs. And that's where without Matthews, I feel less confident. And even if you use that money, like even if like Mikael Granlund and you know, I forget who else we've talked about it. Oh yeah, the guy from Seattle. Refresh my memory there. Gord. Yeah. Like if those two are added to this team, like like sure it's great. They're a little bit better, but like I still don't see them being like amazing playoff team. Like this team needs Matthews back. So like whatever it takes to get that guy back. Like even if it is the LTR thing and you get him like first day of the playoffs, like I don't know if that's what you have to do, but I think the money you gain from that doesn't really like make a difference as much as just getting that guy like at 100%. And I think that means him playing games leading up to the playoffs. Like I don't want his first game to be the playoff game. So like, I don't know. But just him coming back already, like, I don't know, like let him sit out. Like it just doesn't feel like he's sat out enough that it's healthy, or he's just never going to be healthy again.
I feel like all he's done is sat out. Like what is ailing him? If he's not having surgery, he's flying to Germany. All he's done is sit out. He hasn't sat out long enough. Like what is going on? Obviously it's not our business to know, but like guys on the other end of this team of Austin Matthews, get your shit together. Like fix it.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's on a really big deal. Like it's especially for like a really big business. This matters. Like if he wants to be able to perform through his contract, then he has to be able to be healthy, and you can't just keep nursing something and sending him back out there and like giving a half-ass performance for the highest paid player in the league right now. Like I just don't see how that makes any sense for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's just a real big bummer, and like we want Austin Matthews. Like Austin Matthews is king here, right? Like I'm not slashing him. I'm just saying it sucks to have that guy hurt. Of all guys to have to shelf and to eat. Like, you could be like, well, Max Domi's hurt. Well, we like Max Domi. He's got his flaws, but we like Max Domi, but it's only $3 million. We could feasibly use that $3 million in some sort of trade and figure it out later. Kind of.
And you
thing.
can find
you can't do anything with what are you going to do with $13.5 million? Like you can't replace a $13.5 million player. You just can't do it. There's no guy out there that you can just make a trade for that just replaces a guy. Like there's no two guys. I don't know if you can do that would replace Austin Matthews. So that's the shitty part about it. All right, let's move on this. Thoughts on the decision to start Wool tonight, or Wool last night against the Wings and Murray tonight against the Caps. I really didn't like the first goal that he let in, Mangiapane on Murray. It was very leaky right under his pad. The second goal was tough as well. Third goal was, it was kind of, I guess he was pinched up. He was on the far one side as the Dowd goal where they slid it across the crease and he scored from a wicked angle. But I didn't really like a lot of the goals on Matt Murray tonight. And I kind of want to know, like, do you think that this game would have been different had we have gotten like a Stolarz normal game or a Wool, good normal game? And why no Hildeby?
Yeah, I think definitely. Yeah, Murray he's not the goalie for me. That's for sure. He seems leaky. He seems slow. I'm not so sure that you're gonna get the best goalie in many NHL games when he's your goalie.
Feels like if you needed a Band-Aid, I understand he's a Band-Aid, but like he's not like a Band-Aid brand Band-Aid. He's like a dollar store brand Band-Aid. Like he barely hangs on. Like it's not good enough. It's falling off.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree, and I don't know. It's the decision to play Wall in the second one. I think is just like I don't know. You there's a you kind of have to make a choice when it's a back to back. Do you want to do a solid to your starting goalie, or do you want to try and get both wins? And they're giving the solid to Wall, get his confidence high. I don't hate it, and then you're just getting the worst version of your team in the second half regardless, and so like yeah, add the goalie on there too. So and why not Hildeby? Like I guess it's because he saw him once and it didn't go so hot, and then they're just shipping him off. Like that's where I really wanted him to get the second game, and they called Murray up a little bit too early. It's because yes, he had one bad game, but just give him another one, and then you can kind of make a decision after that. Where at this point, I don't know how we've made a decision. Like you saw the kid once. Like I don't know, that's not enough to determine if he's a good enough goalie or not. Murray, I think that we can make that decision. Like now we've seen him twice, and I think that he looks like similar goalie that he was prior. And it's like a guy that can put on the equipment and like, walk the walk, or he can talk the talk. But when it comes down to being the better goalie in an NHL game, that's not him. He's a goalie in an NHL game, but just don't expect to be the winner of that game.
I mean, yeah, I just feel like there was an empty net goal, so it was 5-2, but it was a 4-2 game. That's how it really works out in a losing team's head. That's how it always is. And so I feel like there was probably 2 goals that wouldn't have been scored on Wool or Stolarz. Yeah. And I feel like the Leafs have depended on that a lot this season. Good goaltending. And, Murray just can't provide that for them. And I feel like that's going to hurt. And Stolarz, I don't think he's going to be back. Like, it's still going to be another 4 weeks, right? Like, he'll be out for a bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I go ahead.
I don't know. It's like if you want to really just maximize the amount of wins, then you have to play Wall as much as possible. If you want to make sure you can have a goalie that's surviving, we're going to have to live with some Matt Murray games. Or you just bring up Hildeby, and it might feel similar to Matt Murray games, or or at least you're testing something out. But it's just I'm going to be okay with the odd bad goalie game just because of like if you don't want Wall playing a back-to-back. And so, but yes, I think that the team's been relying on their goaltending. Like, and I think like for the whole season almost, like definitely in the last like 15 games, there's been, some good chunks in there, but a lot of games where you're just, you're having a goalie battle and you're winning it. And it's been a shock because, I think that with last year's goalies or the goalies the year before that, you're looking at a way different record. Like we're looking at a record of are we making the playoffs, and not a record of like are we going to come first in the division.
So with falling tonight, like we had a chance tonight to actually I think the Panthers are still a game ahead of us. They played today, so there's still a game ahead of us, but we lost and they won today, so they're now putting some space between us. I think would be a 2-point differential even if we tied, but you're going to have to expect that because this team is going to rely heavily on the solid goaltending that Brad Treliving's provided for this team. Like, and that's how a lot of teams get through the playoffs is solid goaltending. Not every team is the, perfect defensive team. There's quite a few teams that could get in and get through on solid goaltending. Like, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The Florida Panthers just did it most recently. The Vegas Golden Knights got goaltending out of nowhere. Like, we have to find a guy who can provide that goaltending, and that's kind of the way this team's built, and it really shows when you have a guy like Matt Murray. But again, like, we know what Matt Murray is, and after watching him tonight, like, I feel like it's okay. Next one's Hildeby. Next one that we need is Hildeby. Like, we have a back-to-back coming up next Saturday, Sunday, I believe. And I think that's when you should put the Hildebeest in. Toss Murray back down to the minors. They're going to do that anyways because of his contract waiver thing, right? So on paper, He's going back to the minors tomorrow anyways. So I say you pull Hildeby up, let him practice with the team, let Murray go down, maybe play next weekend's games, and let Hildeby sit on the bench. And then he can play on Saturday night or whatever. I don't know which game would make more sense, but one of the 2 games, and just see. Because like if that's what this team needs, Hildeby had a bad game. He doesn't look like Matt Murray. In no world does Dennis Hildeby look like Matt Murray. So like he has a chance of showing us that he could be that, Band-Aid brand Band-Aid instead of the dollar store brand Band-Aid that we spoke about earlier. I just think that probably is where they should go from here, but hell, what do I know?
I mean, if it helps, I totally agree. Like that's the direction I would like the
Helps
team to
me.
go. That's good. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This team, like I know it's different management and everything, but it seems to have a soft spot for Matt Murray for some reason. So like, wouldn't be shocked if we saw him again, but I definitely would rather see Hildeby.
For sure. So Jacob Chikrin scored tonight. Plays for the
Mm,
Washington Capitals now. Guy's played for quite a few teams here.
yeah.
Jacob Chikrin has 10 goals on the season. The
Yep.
entire Maple Leafs defense has 7
Right.
goals on the season. Do the
Yeah.
Leafs need a goal scorer on the back end? Is that something they should be prioritizing going forward in the season? Or do you think there's a guy here that, is supposed to be that's not broken out, OEL? Or is that not really what we were expecting from him? What are your thoughts about the Leafs and, the clear lack of scoring on the back end?
I mean, I thought it was odd that Chikrin didn't go for more when he was traded because like he's always been known as a goal scorer. He led the league in goal scoring like 3 or 4 seasons ago, but just when he got traded or signed and or traded to Ottawa, however that worked out, they like he was kind of slotted weird where they had like a full left or full right side, and he kind of got slotted behind Shabbat and lost his spot. And so I'm not surprised at all that he's scoring a lot. And I think that like it was like a little bit of a missed opportunity to bring him in. But I mean, I guess you can't always make those deals, especially with a team that's so close to you, like Ottawa. But I've always liked Chikrin. He also has like a bit of bite to his game. He's not like amazing defensively, but he holds his own. But definitely has a shot. Definitely can score goals. So I wish he was a Leaf. He's one of those guys that I definitely wish was. You're muted.
Sorry, clear my throat. Obviously, we're not going to get Chikrin because he's on
No.
Washington, who's doing amazing. They're first right now, right in their division.
Oh yeah.
But who do you think that the Leafs should target to have a guy like Chikrin? And honestly, like I think it should be the guy that plays next to Riley, if we're being all honest, don't you? Berube wanted a puck moving pair, right? That's
Right.
what he was looking for. And so, like, if you could maybe find that guy, because I think OEL was supposed to be that guy, but he just really hasn't been. He had like 9 goals last year, I think OEL did, and how many goals do you have this year? 1, 0? Like, I don't even know if he has any. Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has any, but yeah, like I'm not sure anyone really expected a ton from the OEL signing, and he surprised everybody with playing really well out of the gates, and I think everyone kind of got behind him. But I think Florida fans knew a little bit better than us. Then you have these stretches of really good play from him, but also stretches where he's not so hot, and we're a bit of
I'd at
that.
least, I'd at
We're a
least
bit on
expect
that
more
not so
offense,
hot.
though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's always been though like a bit of a two-way guy. Like he was supposed to be a more offensive player, but that's not what he ended up turning into. Like he's a guy who can move the puck and he's okay on scoring, but yeah, I think that like that is an interesting thought. Like it would be more of replacing Timmins to me. Everyone gets slotted a little bit different.
mhm.
And yeah, like who is that guy in the league? That's really tough to like throw on me right here, but there's someone out there.
Homework.
Yeah,
Homework.
there's
There's got
homework.
to be a guy, but I think the
Yeah,
Leafs do need a guy like that.
yeah.
Okay, what else do we got here? John Tavares 7-game point streak. So John Tavares has 12 points in his last 7 games.
Wow.
Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
John Tavares on a contract year. I know this has nothing to do with the game. What's he going to make next year?
I don't know, man. Like it's kind of weird because obviously somewhere like Anaheim or San Jose or somewhere would love to give him $8 or $9 million.
Maybe 7.
I mean, like a team that sucks, they just to get a guy of that.
They just gave Killorn 6.
Right.
So,
yeah. Yeah, like I don't know though. Like if he played for a team for 4, I think I would be like ecstatic. But if it's a little bit higher than that, they just need to find us something that's a deal for sure. But he's still John Tavares, and he still is a guy that can have these streaks of, what'd you say, 12 points in 7 games?
12 points in 7 games. That is so not
Yeah.
John Tavares. Woo!
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, he needs to be on this team though. I would be so upset if he's not on this team next year. I don't know where he's at. Is he in kind of like where Marner's at, where he just wants the most amount of money? Or is he
Nah,
ready
I
to
think
settle?
he wants to stay. I think he wants to. He's home, right? He's got kids.
He
here,
has
probably,
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, his kid's here. He's settled in. This was like the dream to come play here and finish his career. So, he's losing what? Like in the end, what is he going to lose? Like $10 million? I think the guy's made over $100 million in his career. So, what's the difference? I feel like if you've made $30 million, you've made $100 million. Like until you've made, $1 billion, like doesn't everything seem the same? Like you're still rich.
Well, yes and no. Yes, you're very, very rich. It doesn't, doesn't matter to a guy like us, that's for sure. Okay, the last thing I got here before we get out. Were you surprised by Logan Thompson not making Team Canada? He stopped 30 at 32 tonight. Looked really good. Robbed William Nylander. Like, there was a couple of actually robbed William Nylander and then swiped another one out of the air. That was fluttering that I was like, my breath stopped for a second thinking it might go in, but no, right-handed goaltender. What were your thoughts on him tonight? And are you surprised he didn't get on the 3-man list for Team Canada?
Yeah, I thought the funniest thing about that one save on Willie is like the TV like says goal and the scoreboard even changes to 2-2, and yet the goalie's got the puck in his glove. Like that's hilarious. Kind of sucked for us, but like I don't know. Not every goalie that plays amazing against the Leafs should be on Team Canada. Like we already got
he's had
we already got
Montembeault.
Season. I know. I'm joking a little bit, but I think that
Montembeault.
None of these goalies I think are like amazing. You could probably get a hot game out of any of them. So, but yeah, a little weird that he's not on it, especially because just he has a bit more of a track record than someone like Montembeault does. But
he's 13-2-2 with a 2.4 goals against average and a .914 save percentage. He's tied for 8th in the league for save percentage, 8th in goals against, and 9th in wins in the league. So, I mean,
that seems like good enough numbers to me.
Yeah, I think that's better than any other Team Canada goalie we have.
Yeah, I don't know. Montembeault has like really weird numbers because he was so good at the beginning of the year, but he's had a lot of really bad games as well. So, I can't imagine if it is higher than that. It's by much, but yeah, I guess a little bit weird. Maybe they don't like the righty glove goalies. I don't know.
900 save percentage, 2.94. So he's tied for 28th in the league for save percentage, and he's 37th in the league for goals against average. Not the one thing I'll say.
The one thing, like the high danger chances from goalie to goalie is probably drastically different, where Montembeault's getting lit up versus Thompson's not. But a little shocking. I will agree.
Yeah. Looked good to me tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the short list to make it if there's an injury. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about before we get out of here, CP?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Well, we rocked it. Another one. Hockey night in Canada, Saturday night hockey. Leafs lose 5-2 to the Washington Capitals. Looking forward, we play again, on Tuesday against the Islanders.
The Islanders. Islanders now back-to-back, right?
At 1 p.m.
Oh, wow. Jesus.
So, day game. So we'll all be here. A little bit saucy, maybe. We'll see you all then. That's a wrap. Thanks for joining us for Split the Defense, Leafs post-game, presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving the Kingston and surrounding area since 2004. Leave us a comment, hit that like button on your way out the door, subscribe on our YouTube, and listen to us in podcast form anywhere you listen to podcasts. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Follow the boys on Twitter at STDPWebby, at Craig D. Pearce, and at Ted_is_shook.